Hey everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. This is it. This is Halloween Day. It's the final day of Bricktober, and I mean, it's the Crow. How else could I end this out? I bought this. I pre-ordered this. This came, at the beginning of the year, earlier in the year. I've been saving it for this. I haven't even opened the box to sneak a peek at Eric inside yet. And I'm just going to tell you now, this is going to be a completely biased video. I already know I'm going to love this thing. It's The Crow. If you weren't there in the 90s, I can't even begin to explain what this movie meant to me, the effect it had on me when I was when I was of a certain age, the effect it still has on me, the love I have for this movie, this character. I already know I'm going to love this. So it's basically going to be me opening this box and telling you how awesome Eric Draven is. But taking a look at the box, we have this fantastic Crow logo right up here. You can see the Crow like etching in the back. The title, Mezco 112, Mezco 112 on top. We have that artwork, that shot from the movie. Believe in Angels. Again, we have it over here. Believe in Angels. And on the back, we have an image of what is in the box. Eric, his different head portraits, his different hand options, the stand, like everything. The electric guitar, even the cat, man. Like, oh. So, I don't even know what else to say. So let's just stop screwing around because all I want is to get my hands on this figure right now. This is the first Crow action figure I'll ever own. It'll probably be the only Crow action figure I'll ever own. So let's get this box open and let's take a look at Mezco 112, the Crow. Here he is, Eric Draven, out of the box, and putting the tape measure to him, we can see that he is just shy of 6.5 inches to the top of his head. I cannot begin to tell you the amount of reverence I used pulling him out of his packaging. So here we go, Eric, and we're going to take the trench coat off, but before we do that, let's actually take a look at it. That for being just black cloth goods, it has this pleather effect going on to it, so it's real shiny, has that leather look to it. Unlike a lot of figures that try to put soft goods on 1/12 figures, this one is like sized appropriate. The seams in it seem to be size appropriate. Like, it just works. Like, Mezco's really good at their cloth goods on their figures. This is where they excel. And it just looks right for him. It doesn't come off as too bulky. The stitching isn't too large. Everything just works really well. Let's get his arms out of the way for a moment. The belt is on a wire so that you can position it if you wanted it to be blowing in the wind. You can position it so that you can actually tie it around his waist if you'd want to. So I really dig that they put a wire in the belt, but there's also a wire in the coat, so you can do the whole blowing back in the wind thing if you'd want to. That's really cool, that you can feel the wire comes down along here just like a cape and then runs along the bottom of it. But what we are going to do, because it does come off, is we are going to pull the trench coat off so we can take a look at the figure underneath. And it looks like we have to, whoops, Eric, it looks like we have to pop his hands off so that there's no stress on the coat. And then we can just tug that right off. And then he has his little stems for his hands. Whoop, wrong one. And we can just pop them right back on with trademark Mezco ease. And there we have Eric. Like, this looks fantastic. I told you, it's going to be me gushing over this figure. This looks fantastic. They use that same shiny pleather effect for his leather pants. He has a different sort of material for like where he had the electrical tape holding his clothing together, holding his shirt together, along with the rope going around it. He has those like the taped up forearms, and then he has the stretchy material for his shirt that is appropriately ripped after getting all shot up. This is definitely him more towards the end of the movie rather than the beginning, once he's suited up in that iconic scene. You know, if you go to YouTube and you just type in The Crow, the scene, it knows exactly what you're talking about, and it gives you the scene that you want. So let's take a look at the face portrait too, and just look at those eyes. Look at this sculpt. Look at this paint job. This is flawless. I feel like I should be wearing gloves while I'm looking at this thing. I love the detail in the hair. Like, at first I thought maybe they should put a wash in there, but I'm glad that they didn't. I think that the detail in the hair, because it's like this dull matted black instead of shiny, it really stands out on its own, and it does a really good job. I mean, you have some spots of shininess in it, but that makes it work. That makes it stand out even more, and I really dig it. Look at this profile. Look at the Harlequin makeup. Look at that. That's beautiful. That is a thing of art. The clothing, we're honestly not going to talk too much about because there's really not much to it. You can see that he does have all of the necessary parts to him. You can see like there's the button flies going down the front of the leather pants. You can see that his hands have the tape going around them as well, coming up from the wrist straps. The boots, I think they did a phenomenal job on the boots, even with the tongues bent down on on both of them, just at different sizes. The detail work on the combat boots, actually I think they're Doc Martens that he's wearing. All of this looks great. And then, like I said, you have, this isn't like part of the sculpt. This is actually something separate. The rope, the twine going around his legs, and also coming around his waist right there. So that's all loose. Be careful of that. Don't let that rip. But there we go. Standard Mezco 112 fare for a clothed figure. So let's take a look at the articulation now. That the head will do a full 360. It gets some decent tilt from side to side. He can look up fairly well. He can look down fairly well. The neck is hinged as well, and there's a ball joint in there, and the head pops on and off very easily. One minor criticism, and this may just be me looking at it for the first time, I feel like the neck is a little thick, that they might have been Nah, it's fine. Now we're going to take a look at the arms. That the arms normally would be able to do a full 360 spin, but because he's wearing the shirt, they'll come up to there, and stop, otherwise you'll start ripping it, and they can go back and go to there and stop, otherwise you'll start ripping it. There's no no butterfly joint in there. Arms will come up past 90. There is a bicep swivel, and it's not a hinge and swivel in the elbow. You can actually see the shirt twisting where, let's see, I don't know if you can see it on camera because it's black, but you can see the shirt twist for the bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows with some really great travel, but once again, because it's a clothed figure, you don't really see that awkward joint in there. Whoops. The clothing just popped the wrist off. Obviously, I didn't pop it on tight enough because the sleeve does move. Those bracers are part of the sleeve, so they'll move back and forth on the arm. Pivot, hinge in and out, or you can do this, you can do that, and then they go up and down, getting his elbow or getting his arms out of the way. I believe there is a cut in there. Yep, there we go. He can really crank forward. Back, not so much, but he also has some tilt side to side. He can turn right there too, but the turning there is limited by his clothing. But then he also, I think, has something at the waist. Maybe a little at the waist. that's a little tight, but he can turn, so you can use the two of them in tandem to get a full twist out of him. Like that goes there, and then you can turn it there, and he can get a full side view right there. Leg articulation. Pants are tight. Legs will come up to there. Legs will go back to there. You can hear it straining. Legs will come out to there, which actually, for as tight as these pants are, that's not bad. He has a thigh cut. You can hear the pants twisting. He has double jointed knees. Really decent travel. Once again, this bunches up, and I think that the leg would be able to close in tighter if it wasn't for the leather of the pants, but I'll take it. I don't want to call it a boot cut, but boot cut. The ankle would rock back, but the boot is getting in the way because the ankle does rock forward too. Not to a great extent, but you do get some forward rock. No toe articulation, but that is great. This is only my second Mezco figure, so I'm kind of still learning Mezco's tricks, because even though this is my second Mezco figure, this is my first fully clothed Mezco figure. My first one, if you remember, was, I think last year, it was the Mezco 112 Wonder Woman. This is my first one that's fully clothed. Kind of giving me a view of what Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are going to be like. Alright, like any Mezco 112 figure, Eric here comes with a lot of accessories, so let's get started with that. We're going to start with the head sculpts. That he comes with 3 other ones in addition to this basically neutral look that he has coming out of the packaging. Now, you saw before that the head pops off very easily, has a nice pop to it. It holds tight, but it doesn't really, it's not difficult to get on there. Like that one just pops right on there. So right there we have bangs up front, eyes still wild, and open mouth expression, kind of like a companion to this one. Hair's just forward, mouth open, still somewhat of a neutral look going on. So we just pop that off, and we bring the next one up, and this one, this is Eric angry. This is Eric about to shed blood. This is Eric about to use Tintin as a pincushion. This is Eric about to stick all the needles into Fun Boy. This is a very angry Eric Draven, and I love it. And then the final one that we have here, just pop this off. This one's maybe even scarier to me. This is his smile. This is his evil smile. This is his let me tell you a joke look. This is great. All of these head sculpts are fantastic in my opinion. The detail on them, the sculpting on them, the paint on them. That some of these, like this one, the paint is a little... The white face paint is a little worn, that you can start to see sort of like up here in the forehead. You can start to see the flesh tones coming through. Not a lot, but just enough to give you the idea that he's had a night. He has had a long night. Now, he also comes with multiple pairs of hands, which we'll be taking a look at. And as you saw before, the fists that he comes with right out of the box, the hands pop off very easily, like all Mezco do. That they just have this little nub right here, and it's very soft, and they fit on there perfectly. So in addition to these fists, let's take a look at some of his other hands. So some standard hands that he comes with are also a pair of trigger hands right here, because he comes with a few guns. He has a pair of open hands right here that you could use for various poses with various accessories. The first thing I'm thinking is you could use these for whenever he's playing his guitar. In addition to his trigger hands, he also comes with a pair of closed gripping hands. And finally, he comes with these 2 hands that are very unique moments from the movie. The through and through hand, you can actually see straight through. They did put a hole in it. I like that. And then, of course, we have... Shh. So taking a look at the accessories that he comes with for his closed gripping hands, we have this katana right here, and this is a really beautiful piece. I think this looks really good. I really like the detail on the blade. I really like the detail they have on the hand wraps right here. Unfortunately, it does not come with a scabbard. It's just the blade. And it is fairly bendy, but I don't feel like it's going to bend out of shape or it's going to lose its form. Now, Eric didn't actually use this in the movie. This was used by Top Dollar, but I'm not going to be upset that they gave us a katana. I will never be upset that they gave us a katana. As a matter of fact, I haven't even tried this yet, but he can, thanks to Mezco's articulation and the ease of, oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that looks great. Oh, that looks so good. But what he used was this. This is the weather vane that he ripped off of the top of the church when he was fighting Top Dollar, when Top Dollar had the katana. And this is a wild accessory. Like, I think it's really cool that they added this in here. Now, I haven't tried to put it in his hands yet, so I don't know how well it's going to go with this big nub right down here. But let's pull this out of his hands, because they're not entirely closed, and Mezco's hands can open, and they'll form back into, and they'll form back into position. So let's just try this. Let's get that there. And now let's put it back on. The sleeve pieces keep riding up, and it makes it hard to get the hand back on. There we go. And yeah, there it is. The weather vane that he used in the sword fight with Top Dollar at the end. That was a wild thing on top of the church, and it looked so cool with the rain and the lightning, and it was so completely 90s edgelord. And just look at this right now. I love the wrought iron detail work on it. I don't know if you can see it, but like it's not just completely black. Is like a dry brush of silver to make it look weathered and metal. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera. I hope it is, because it just makes it look even more awesome. That thing looks fantastic. So this is the guitar that he got from Gideon's pawn shop, and I think it looks great too. Like, this is also one of his holding hands, his closed gripping hands, but the fingers are so soft that you can fit the neck of the guitar in there. Let me just take this off of you for a second, Eric. Lift his arm up to get the strap over it. But the detail on this is great too. Like, this looks like a Stratocaster. Oh, and I just realized that the strap can come off, because mine just did when I was taking it off of him. It just hooks right on there, and it hooks right up top right there, just like a real Fender strap would. That is great. I love the silver of the strings. I love the silver bolts going through on the body, the frets, the pickups, the tuning keys. All of this looks fantastic. You have your electrical panels, the access panels on back. It's properly thick. Like, this is a great piece. I really love this, and I love that they included this with it, because like, it didn't play a huge part in the movie, but like, it was used during those interludes, like when he was just sitting on top of the roof just jamming as the sun was coming up. Oh, it was fantastic. Like I said, he got this at Gideon's pawn shop, but it's not the most important thing he got at Gideon's pawn shop, because he also got this. This is the pump action that he got from the pawn shop, where he just dumped all of the stolen engagement rings right down the barrel. That was so cool. That whole scene was so cool. I love the gun metaling on this shotgun. I love the pistol grip, the detail on the pistol grip on this thing. Like, it makes it look like that this chamber would actually cycle forward. And they even painted the trigger a different color from the trigger guard just to make it stand out. And on top of everything else, it pumps the actions. That is so cool. Now, we do have a whole board out right here, and I had my hopes up. However, it's not big enough to take blast effects. Now, this is a G.I. Joe blast effect. This is Hasbro. This is from the Viper 3-pack. I don't have any other blast effects. I don't know if they make something that is small enough to fit in there. Oh, maybe my Valaverse, because I think Valaverse is a bit of a different size. Hold on, let me check on something. So no, the Valaverse blast effects don't fit either. The hole is still too small for the Valaverse stems, and the barrel is actually too thick in diameter for the over-the-barrel blast effects to fit on it. So unfortunately, those won't work, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that this is just an awesome, awesome piece. And it fits in his hand really well, because like we've been saying, his fingers are very gummy. I shouldn't say gummy, flexible. His fingers are very flexible, and he can get a really, really good grip on it. Just look at that. Is that gasoline I smell? And while the shotgun is all well and good, it does not compare to the most important thing he got back from Gideon's shop. A gold engagement ring pawned a year ago. There it is. Shelly's engagement ring on this string. Now this is a wire. So this will bend, and this will take any shape you need it to for when you fit it around his neck, or if he's just holding it. Something to be aware of, though, this is not in an individual package. This is just sitting in a divot in that huge tray that Mezco sends all of their stuff in. So just be very aware, because the black of this blends into the tray very well. I had to look 2 or 3 times before I realized I had been looking at it. So it's very easy to miss, which means it'll be very easy to lose, but there's no way I'm losing this. So this will just fit around. Most easiest way to do it is just pop the head off. Put it around the neck. Get it underneath the coat. It's very thin, so it's a little difficult to work with at first, especially if you have big fingers like I do. But there you go. Oh, I loved this movie so much. Another important piece, a touchstone back to Shelley, is the mask. And even if you haven't seen the movie, I don't think I need to tell you the importance of the mask and the effect it has on storytelling. I love that the eye holes are open. There's really no way to get this to stay on his face, but I love that the eye holes are open. I love that it actually is like a theater mask. That looks so good. This, like, now I need like a mirror and a makeup table to like just prop this up on. So a few other weapons that Eric comes with is he comes with these 2 pistols and he comes with his knife. Now these do have significance, and I'm kind of impressed that they packed them in. Although if they packed in Top Dollar's katana, it doesn't surprise me that they did with these. This is Funboy's revolver, which we saw him use in the apartment. This is what he used to blow a hole through Eric's hand. Once again, I like the gunmetal coloring. I like the detail work they did to the grip back here. I even like how pronounced the trigger is. Like, it really looks like that trigger should move. And speaking of moving, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it while in focus, but it's a little difficult to get, but the chamber rotates. That's nuts. Something this small and that chamber is rotating. I dig that. I love that. I think that is awesome. I almost expect the hammer to be able to cock back. Okay. Now the dagger is Tintin's dagger. Eric doesn't have holsters or any place to put this stuff. This is just accessories that they sent with. And they did something with this that I love, because it's always a pet peeve of mine whenever they make a dagger or a melee weapon like this, and it's just all one color, like it's all black, or it would be all silver. I greatly appreciate that they have this in silver and painted the handle black. That looks great. My God, does that look good. It's something so small, but it looks so good, like with the detail in the handle right here. One of Tintin's throwing knives. And then we have T-Bird's automatic right here. It's Beretta 9mm. Now, it comes with 2 magazines, and you can, well, first of all, taking a look at even the magazines, that, like, the magazines are styled very nicely, sculpted very nicely, And the rounds, they have colored copper rounds on top of the magazine, and the magazines fit very well inside the handle of the Beretta of the 9mm. The only issue with this, and this may just be me, is that it's difficult to get them back out. Like you have, of course, it's going to make a liar out of me. I was struggling the first time around. Maybe I loosened it up a little, but the mags fit in there very nice. But then the thing that is the coolest, watch this, the action works on that thing. So you can have like an empty pose. That's so cool. That is so, so cool. And just like with the other weapons, I really appreciate the detail work they put into this. It's black, but it looks weathered, like it's been used. And then you have the brown of the handle and the detail in the handle and the silver for the screws that are holding the handle together. You have it on both sides. I think this is fantastic. These are some really nice accessories. Like I said, with Top Dollar's Katana, I'm a little surprised that they packed them in here since these aren't his, strictly speaking, but I'm not going to complain because they look great. Now, something that I am probably going to lose is going to be this Zippo lighter right here. This is T-Bird Zippo, I believe. And don't get me wrong, once again, I really like the detail to it. I like the paint job that they did to it. I appreciate putting it in there. I really appreciate the work that went into it. I'm almost surprised you can't take the flame effect out and close it. The only hand that I've seen it, that I've been able to get it to work with, is sort of the closed gripping hand. And then you just kind of put it in there between his thumb and his fingers. And he can get a grip on it, but man, the carpet monster is so going to chomp on that. And then, of course, what good is having a lighter if you don't have something to light on fire? And I know, unfortunately, with my red background, this isn't coming out very well, but this is the flaming crow that he lit, after he sent T-Bird off the pier. Let's hold it up a little so you can get a better look at it. That this translucent orange piece of plastic is fantastic. This, you want to talk about like essential diorama pieces. This looks great. I'm sorry my background is red because I feel like you're not getting the full effect of just how awesome this thing looks. With the translucent orangish red plastic, one side is completely flat, so it'll just sit there. The other side has like these raised flame effects on it. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. And speaking of diorama pieces, one more diorama piece that they packed in here with us is, of course, Eric's tombstone. And what else can you say about this? It is simple, it is elegant, it is gothic. I love that they didn't put a date on it. That way it doesn't date the movie. Because honestly, and I know I'm a huge, huge raving fanboy for this movie right now, or at least that's how I sound. Honestly, I think this movie is kind of timeless. And I love that they didn't put any dates on it at all. I love that you just have this blank slab of stone, Eric's name etched into it, the cross, and the angel, the little cherub. That is great. The back is just plain stone. There's some weight to this. This feels really good. The texturing feels really good. It almost does feel like stone and not like a piece of plastic. I mean, come on, that looks great. Just a few more things to look at, and one of them is Gabrielle, his cat, his companion, the one that was waiting there for him when he came back. This, I know I've been saying it, but this looks great. I mean, it's Mezco. It's Mezco 112th. We know they're going to just go all out for it. It's why we buy them. It's why we pay so much for them. Look at those eyes. Look at those green eyes. Look at the fur. We only get one version of the cat, and that is her in, like, mid-prance. I wish we had, if we were going to get this one, I wish, this is a nitpick. This is not a complaint. This is a personal thing. But I wish we would have gotten Gabrielle sort of sitting so that you could do that moment when he walks in and you just see his boots and the cat sits down and looks up at him and he bends down and he scratches her head and then crow. Like, this is cool. I like this. We have this stalking cat look, but I don't know. I think I would have liked a sitting version so that we could recreate that scene, but that's just me. And speaking of the crow, of course we have the crow. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, seeing as how it's all black, but no surprise, great amount of detail. You can see it in the feathers right there. You can see it in the black eyes, the black beak. Everything is just so black. Crow black dreams. Oh, look at the pattern. That's great. Now, the crow has a hole, a peg hole back here, and we'll see why in a moment. But we get two versions of the crow. We get the crow with wings out, and we get the crow with wings in. This one also, very sort of well hidden actually, has a peg hole back here. I wish that there was a way that they would have been able to mount it on Eric's shoulder, because it really doesn't. The only way you can do it, and I wouldn't even figure this out if the swoosh hadn't shown me, you have to stick the foot underneath the collar. Luckily, the collar is wired, so it will stay down when you press it down, and that helps. I'm sorry, oh my god, that looks so cool. Okay, so pushing the collar down on the crow's foot helps to trap it and keep it on his shoulder, and this may never come off right now. Oh yeah, that's great. Okay, so last but not least is actually the Mezco stand. We've seen this before, but there's a little bit of a twist to this one. That, just like with all of them, you have this flat base, and it has a foot peg on there if you just want to use it that way. Or you can use this, pop that foot peg out, and then you can make a proper stand out of it. Just push that down in there, and then you have the armature to help hold Eric in place. Really big. Yeah, that would be high up on his body, but it would still work. But what's unique about this is that it comes with this extra piece right here. You see this? This fits on like that. And then you get these two wires. And I'm only going to put one in right now because I don't know if I'm going to bother with both of them. But these wires fit into those pegs right there. And the idea is that you now have a way for the bird to fly. Not the best way. There we go. So on one hand, I think this is really cool. You get two of them because you have two crow, but he's never had two crow with him before. It was always just the one crow. But I like the idea that you can sort of like put this flying ahead of him on there. I like this for the flight. I don't like this to try and use it with the sitting one. I haven't even tried to do that yet. That seems like it would just be a whole lot of headache. I think what we did by just slipping the foot underneath there and just, oh my gosh, does that look so good? But you also can have this one flying ahead of him, which is cool because there were plenty of those scenes where he was walking and the bird was just like whoosh right in front of him. Oh, I can't believe I waited almost a year to open this. And I almost forgot, but of course it comes with the Mezco bag, so you can store all the accessories in it, along with a place to write Eric Draven on there. But honestly, I think I'm just going to keep it all in the box. And now for size comparison, here he is beside Jada Toys' Universal Monsters, Count Dracula, and Frankenstein's monster. Here he is beside Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series, Stalker, and Cobra Trooper Sans helmet. Mezco, just their 1/12 figures scale just a little bit taller than most, like, 6-inch figure lines. Here he is beside NECA Toys, Ming the Merciless, and Flash Gordon. Here he is beside Loose Collector, Vampirella, Big Bad Toy Store Exclusive, and DC Direct Cheetah. Here he is beside Mattel Masterverse 40th Anniversary Edition He-Man and Masters of the Universe movie Skeletor. And finally, here he is beside NECA Toys, Dungeons & Dragons, Warduke, and Grimsword. I mean, they're talking about remaking the movie. Why would they remake the movie? It's not going to be better than the original. I mean, in this day and age, with the way they make movies, it's not going to be any good. Brandon Lee was taken from us way too young. He really was. This movie would have been the turning point in his career. This would have been the thing that, like, rocketed him to stardom. But we're not here to talk about the movie. We're not here to talk about Brandon Lee. We're here to talk about this figure. Mezco 1/12, the Crow. And as I said at the beginning, this is going to be a completely biased review. The movie had such an impact on me, made such an impression on me, meant so much to me, that there's no way I wasn't going to love this figure. I love the detail on it. I love the work that they put into the face paint. I love all of the accessories that they packed in. Everything that meant something in the movie, everything that was a touch point in the movie, everything that was important to the character growth, to the character development, to the movement of the plot. I love that the tombstone is in there. I love that the big fiery crow is in there. All of the accessories, all of the weapons that even if they weren't his, they tie directly to those that were in the movie, those that he came back for. The articulation is smooth. The clothing doesn't really hinder too much. You heard it squeaking sometimes with the leg movement, but that's because of the faux leather. And yeah, the shirt kind of hinders him from being able to put his arms up all the way, but that's what you get when you get a clothed figure. I do love that there are tears in the shirt, that this is more from the end of the movie rather than the beginning of the movie. Eric's had a night out. Things have gone wonky. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I thank Mezco. I actually thank Mezco for making this figure, because out of all the other ones I saw, and I have seen other figures for the Crow, I have seen other figures of Eric, but none of them ever really stood out to me. None of them ever made me say, I need to have that, until I saw this Mezco figure, because I knew with Eric, with the Crow, with this character, it was just going to be one and done. And I am so glad it is this one. I don't know what else to tell you. All of the accessories, all of the paint apps, all of the detail, all of the work. If I have one complaint on it, one minor complaint on it, it's that the taped up wrists tend to slide forward sometimes, and they pop the hands off whenever you're trying to pose them and move them around, so you have to put them back on. That is really the extent of my complaint with the figure. I would have liked if they would have made some some way to put the Crow on Eric's shoulders in a more secure fit, but as you can see, you can get around that. You can either slip it underneath the collar of the trench coat, or if you're looking at the final shot of this video, it's kind of just held underneath his locks. So there is a way to do it. It's not meant to be that way. It's not the sturdiest, but it works, and it looks fantastic. The only thing I wish for now is that they brought out more figures from this movie to go along with Eric. Tintin, T-Bird, Fun Boy, those would look great. Top Dollar. They could even do the police officer, the cop. I can't remember what his name is right now. It's eluding me, but like just the rest of the cast of characters, because it was quite a cast of characters from this movie. It was very eclectic. It looked fantastic. I would love to see more of that. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think it's just going to be him. I think that's going to be it, unfortunately, because they would all make just fantastic figures. So this is it. This is the night. This is All Hallows Eve, and I'm going to be handing out candy. I can't wait to see the kids. We always get a lot of kids, and I give out a lot of candy, so I'm usually one of the first houses that they hit at night. So if you're passing out candy, I hope you have fun. If you're going out tonight, I hope you're safe. So, for one last time this year, happy Halloween, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.